Hi, I'm Catherine McGrath and I'm one of the team at Barclays who's responsible for overdrafts. I wanted to thank all of you who've been posting comments and asking questions on Facebook and Twitter about the changes, and people like John Lee and Matthew Tonks and Kirsty Court for taking the time to tell us how you feel about the changes that we're making. What we thought we'd do is answer those questions head on, and while I can't answer all of your questions individually, hopefully what we'll do today gives a bit more context behind why we're making the changes. So the changes are coming in mid-June, and there's 4 main changes. Firstly, we're introducing text alerts. The point of the text alerts is to give you the information that you need at exactly the right time to help keep you in control. So it means if you can, you might be able to avoid slipping into overdraft altogether. The second are buffers. That means that small slip-ups won't cost you anything, so the buffers are for £15. The third are caps. The caps mean that if you've got transactions that are going through that we have to pay and you haven't got enough money in your account, we'll cap those at 1 per day. You used to be able to get charged 5 per day. And the fourth and most important one is daily fees. So rather than having an interest rate being charged on an overdraft, we're now going to charge daily fees. So the reason that we're bringing in the changes is quite simply customers told us that they didn't like what we were doing before. What they particularly didn't like is they felt it was unfair that when you were at the end of the month and really struggling with your finances, that's when it cost you the most. So the changes are all about giving customers more tools like the text alerts and making it far easier to calculate what it's actually going to cost you to borrow the money. We've had quite a few consumer groups involved looking at this with us, and they were really helpful to say, here are the things that will work and here are the things that won't work for your customers. I can see why people would think it's about us making more money, because if it's going to cost you more, surely we're making more money. But the reality is we're not making any more money at all. We'll make the same amount when these go in as we did before. The reason that we're making the same amount is that people who used to pay more because they were slipping into the red and just over their limit, they're now paying less. And the people that use their authorised overdraft and use it a lot every month, they're paying a bit more. So 70% of customers aren't really impacted at all or are positively impacted, and 30% of customers are worse off by the changes. So the customers who are better off are customers who are using their personal reserve a lot, or customers who are paying for paid transaction fees and slipping into the red. Customers who aren't really impacted are people who are just slipping into their overdraft by a little amount for a short period of time. And the customers who are worse off are customers who are using their overdraft quite a bit and every month. Now, we know from the work that we've done that of the customers that are worse off, more than half of them are worse off by less than £5 per month. But if you're someone who's worked out that the increased cost is really difficult for you, then we've got a team who's been set up to help, and they can help you restructure your debt, they can help on budgeting tips and advice. And their telephone number is 0345 734 5345. So the changes that we're making will apply to all of our accounts, but if you have an interest-free amount on your account today, that will continue after June. So for example, if you're a student and you have a £1,500 interest-free overdraft today, then from mid-June you'll have a £1,500 fee-free overdraft. But if you go over that fee-free amount, then the new charges will apply. So we really do appreciate our long-standing customers, and these changes have been driven by customer feedback. But as we've looked at how customers are using their overdrafts, what we've realised is that we can do more to help our customers. And if you're someone that's using your overdraft all month, every month, that's probably not making you particularly happy. So what we'd like to do is to talk to you and help work out how you can get out of overdraft. So the cost of borrowing really depends on what you're borrowing the money for. So if what you need is just something to tide you over at the end of the month while you're waiting for your pay to come through, then an overdraft can be a really cost-effective way of borrowing. But if you look at what you're doing and realise that you're actually in overdraft or borrowing money all month, every month, then your borrowing needs are different. What you'd be probably better to do is to talk to us about a personal loan that will have regular repayments that will help you pay down the debt over time, and it will also make sure that it's a more cost-effective way of borrowing for you. So thanks again for your tweets, and I hope I've gone some way to answering your questions. If you've got any more questions that you think we haven't answered, feel free to get in touch. Thanks again.